Today we are going to discuss about the growth in bacteria. Basically, growth in bacteria has some phases. There are 4 phases in which there would be a growth in bacteria. Basically, the growth will be like the number of cells will be divided or increased, but the size is not increased. Like this, the size is not increase of any bacteria, but the number of cells are like divided, replicate, or increased. Okay, now there are 4 phases. First phase is a lag phase. Second phase is a log phase. Third phase is a stationary phase, and the fourth phase is a decline or death phase. Decline or death phase. These are the 4 phases. First of all, we'll be discussing about the log phase. Lag phase. One is lag phase, second is log phase. First is lag phase. Basically, lag phase in which there will be no multiplication. Okay, like in first phase there will be no multiplication, only there will be an enzyme synthesis. The cell volume will increase. Cell volume means the cell size will increase. Okay, only the cell size will increase and the cell volume will increase. Okay, and the enzyme synthesis will occur, but there will be no multiplication in this phase. Only bacteria, we can say bacteria will prepare itself for the division, for the cell division. Okay, in this first phase bacteria will be preparing itself for the cell division, but there will be no multiplication. That can be an MCQ. Then in which phase there will be no multiplication? It will be a lag phase in which there will be a no multiplication. Now the second phase, that is a log phase. In log phase, the number of bacteria will rapidly increase. Okay, in this log phase the number of bacteria will rapidly means fastly increased. It means rapidly increase, it means there will be binary fusion. Okay, means a bacteria will divide here. Bacteria will divide means, but rapidly divide. It will rapidly divide. The number of bacteria will rapidly increase and rapidly divide. The multiplication will be doubled. There in this phase there was no multiplication, but in log phase there will be, the multiplication will be doubled. For example, if we talk like if there are 512 bacteria are there. Okay, now in this phase, in first phase they will only there will be enzyme synthesis, the cell size, cell volume will increase, and here only bacteria, all these bacteria will prepare themselves for the cell division. Now when they come into the second phase, that is a log phase, now here the bacteria will rapidly increase and their multiplication will be doubled. Now as it will get doubled, it will divide, the growth will increase, and it will be, their multiplication will be doubled, and it will be 1024, the double of 512. Then again, as it will be continuously rapidly increasing continuously, so 1024 will divide into 2048 and so on. Okay, so this, but the time it take for the doubling, that time is known as doubling time. The time is known as a doubling time, means the time taken by the bacteria for the multiplication, that multiplication becomes double, and that time is known as a doubling time or the generation time. It is known as a doubling time or the generation time. This is also a doubling time. Okay. And this phase, the log phase, is also known as a exponential phase. Okay. This log phase is also known as a exponential phase. Now the third phase was the stationary phase. Now here it will be stationary phase. Okay. In this phase the bacteria will divide like multiplication, the multiplication as well as the death ratio both will be equal. Like for example, if 512 bacteria are replicating are multiplying, 512 will be dying as well on the same time. Okay, like in this phase both will be equal. I'll be explaining by the help of graph as well. First of all, let us let me explain here, that is multiplication and the death ratio. Like the multiplication of the bacteria as well as the death ratio of the bacteria both will be equal in this stationary phase. Okay, the bacteria like that grows, same as the bacteria will be died, same number of bacteria will be died as the same number of bacteria will be growing. That phase is known as a stationary phase. Means stationary, it means like stop, something is stopped. Okay, so the multiplication is like there would be a multiplication, but like the death ratio will be same equal, like the bacteria that are multiplying, same bacteria and the number of bacteria will be dying as well. So that's why it is known as a stationary phase. Now the fourth phase, that was a decline or the death phase. Decline or the death phase, basically in this the name is showing that the death ratio will increase more than the multiplication. The multiplication will be decreased and the death ratio will increase. Okay, if I explain you with the help of graph. Okay, for example, like 512 bacteria are there. This is a time. Okay, now 512 bacteria are there. This is a first phase is a lag phase. This is a lag phase, means there will be no multiplication. Okay, now the replication will be rapidly increased. Here the second phase, that is a log phase, here the replication will be rapidly, it is increasing. Okay, rapidly it is increasing. Then the third phase, stationary phase, it means there will be multiplication but same as the number of bacteria will be dying, so that will be a stationary phase. Then the multiplication is decreasing. That phase is a death phase or the decline phase. Okay, this graph is showing that is a lag phase, means no multiplication. That is a rapid multiplication, log phase. Then the stationary phase, that is like the bacteria, the multiplication as well as the death ratio will be equal. Then again the death ratio increase, but that is the graph of the growth. So here the growth decrease. Okay, so that was the 4 phases of the growth of the bacteria. I hope so with the help of this graph you have understood about the growth and bacteria.